you can pretty much do it.
Felger and Mazz.
In perpetuity.
Yep. The Sports Hub.
Brad, do you ever feel like you shoot too many threes?
The bad ones. Yeah, sure. Yeah, but I don't, like, for me, it's, again, Tony, I look at every shot, and so for me, it's evaluating each and every shot. But yeah, if we come down and shoot a really tough contested three when a guy's wide open at the rim, or if we have an action that we can get to, sure. Yeah, I mean, I think anyone would say that. I think Joe would be the first to say that. And I also think that, we have to do our best to generate the best possible look we can. But yeah, I think we all would love dunks. I would love dunks.
I still don't know if they get it. Missoula's worse than Stevens. There's no doubt about it. I don't know if Missoula really thinks there is a bad three-point shot because the analyst just defers to the numbers. Stevens is a little more, I think a lot more acumen, but I still don't think he gets it. So when he answers Mazz and gets hour number 2, Agenda Free Friday, brought to you by Catches Law, do you shoot too many threes? Yeah, the bad ones. And he goes on a shot-by-shot basis. I just evaluate every shot.
Yep.
Well, so what he's saying there is, like, for example, just, again, the one that we've talked about a lot, is front and center. That one-point game, Game 7, Philadelphia 76ers, you went 0 for your last 7 from 3. You were down 1 point with 3.5 minutes left, and you shot 7 3-pointers and went 0 for 7. But there was a kick-out 3 to Pritchard. That was a wide-open look, highly efficient shot by one of your best shooters. And I know that Stevens, the analysts, would look at that possession if they're looking at shot by shot and say, that was a good shot.
They would.
That was a good look. That was a good shot. We don't have a problem with that three-pointer. And I think that misses the mark. And let me tell you why. If you just step back and look at the teams historically that have sold out to the three-point shot, they haven't won at a high level. And when I say sold out, I mean shoot at the level that you have shot them the last couple of years. I'm not talking about a Golden State Warriors team that led the league in three-pointers. You led the league in three-pointers the year that you won the championship. But when you look at the percentage that you shot it at, you were 1, and number 2 and 3 weren't that far apart. There was a grouping of teams that shot a lot of three-pointers. You were one of them. You happened to finish first instead of third, but you were all sort of grouped tightly together. And same with the Warriors. There were years that they led the league in three-pointers, but not by a ridiculous margin, and there were years they won where they didn't even lead the league in three-pointers. So I'm saying teams that have shot the three at the level that you have the last couple of years haven't won anything.
Correct. They don't win.
There's been only 4 teams in the history of the league who, over the course of a regular season, shot more threes than twos. That was you 2 years ago, and the Houston Rockets for 3 consecutive years under D'Antoni. None of those 4 teams even got out of the conference final. Last year, you set an NBA record for the number of three-pointers. You lost in the second round. This year,
and before Tatum got hurt.
You lost, and you lost early in the playoffs in the second round. This year, you led the playoffs in three-point attempts. You lost in the first round to a team that's not in your class. You were dead last in the NBA in free throws this season, dead last in the NBA in free throws last season.
See, this is a big one for me. Keep going.
Dead last in the NBA in free throws this playoffs. So why don't you step back and look at the big picture and say teams that play that way don't win? Yeah, Pritchard was open. Do you realize that the further you get from the basket, the more open you're going to be? And the point is, if you play that way, you're going to lose. And that's what they don't get. A lot of you still don't get. And as long as you let them off the hook with that thing, well, they were good looks. Yeah, they were good looks 25 feet from the basket. The further you get from the basket, the more quote-unquote open it's going to be. But if that's how you play, you're going to lose. I've been saying it for years. I'm right, and I'm still right. So when Steven says, yeah, the bad ones, and evaluates each and every shot, well, no, dude, no. If you shoot more threes than twos, if you are the leader in three-point shots in the league by a wide margin, you're going to lose. Whether that Peyton Pritchard shot was a good shot or not. Don't you get it? They don't get it. This is what would concern me if I'm a Celtics fan. They still don't get it.
So look, a year ago at this time, he said something similar. he said something similar, and this is why this year to me is more damning. He said something similar after the playoffs where he said, look, if we get dunks all the time, I would love that. He said that a year ago.
Yeah.
I remember him saying it a year ago. Now here we are, and we're having the same conversation. So there was a period there in the regular season where the three-point attempts came down. I'm starting to think that had more to do with Jaylen Brown than anybody else. That Jaylen Brown just said, I'm playing inside the line. That's my game. I'm going to go in there, and that's the way it's going to be. And then Tatum came back, and they went right back to doing what they did before. So I have less confidence in Stevens now than I did a year ago. A year ago, I thought, well, Stevens wants to go in there. Stevens is sort of a basketball traditionalist on some level and would never just keep chucking up threes like that because he's too smart to. He's got to know that you can win that way. So I was stunned that they went back there this year. To me, that's why I said to you when this whole thing happened, it's time to start asking Stevens. They had a year to change it, and they didn't. They really didn't.
And so in the aftermath of that game, everyone nationally says the same thing. What the hell are they doing? I'll just give you a sample from the week. Let's just do it. How about, Scott Van Pelt is on ESPN right after the game. He and, I think, is it Stanford Steve, the guy that he does a show with? They go right to the same thing.
The Boston thing, I question a ton of things because at some point, I saw Bobby Marks tweet this. It's like, I really miss watching Patrick Ewing or Akeem Olajuwon where we could give them the ball and get us an easy 2. And at some point where it's miss 3 after miss 3 after miss 3, it's like, all right, timeout. Guys, all right, we missed 7 threes in a row.
Run something.
Let's run something and get somebody a good look.
49 for 179 in the 4 losses. And I already said the bit about the Brown and the Pritchard threes would have given him the lead. Does that mean they would have won the game? No, but it would have put Philly in a very different mental headspace if you're now trailing and the Garden is absolutely on fire. I just don't think that there's any conversation to be had with Mazzulla that maybe there's a different approach because he's demonstrated it. He's going to basically say, these are good shots. This is what we do.
Every time.
Never once entertains the thought that there's a different way or approach. And it's a bit like baseball in the sense that you could have an approach over 162 games that over a 4-game series might not play out. And sure, is this a bit of an outlier? Well, yeah. And despite how poorly they shot, 1-3 could have been the difference. And they're fine to let Tatum get back. And now maybe they carry on and maybe everything changes. But to just stubbornly play only one way when it isn't working and to be that dependent. Brian Windhorst flat out came on with us on Friday night and said, Boston hasn't shown me they can win a game if they don't shoot the ball well from 3. Well, then guess what? They didn't shoot the ball well from 3 and they're done.
I blew up in your face.
Everyone, so they're obviously on a podcast with all sorts of sound effects in there. They're not sticking their finger in their cheek, I don't think. But everyone looks at you and says the same thing.
The whole country.
And everyone locally and again, because I think the team has browbeat the local guys into not going to the 3-point thing. But it's just so obvious. And it's when he says it's shot by shot, and I don't like the bad ones. Well, even the good ones aren't as good as you think. And if you're just going to keep kicking out for open threes, and that's what you're hunting, I'm sorry. You're going to lose. You're going to keep losing. And everyone knows it. Everyone sees it. Everyone sees it. Colin Cowherd, if you could. I like formulas. How about adjusting?
I am for formulas. I said this last week. The Celtics are more formula than fantastic. Okay, but I'm for formulas. The Seahawks ran the ball all year. And then circumstances changed. And in the NFC Championship, Sam Darnold threw 36 times, and they only ran it 19. Because the Seahawks, because of the game script, had to adjust their formula. Boston, in Game 7, trails by a point with 3:49 left. They jacked up 7 threes and went 0 for 7. Like, get a basket. And I've said this before. I am all for formulas, and I understand analytics. But I prefer Manalytics, which is in the playoffs, get a bucket and get a stop. And this year, the Celtics were 29-0 when they shot over 40% in threes. But when they didn't, they're a 500 team. In the last 3 games in this series, they couldn't hit anything. And so that is why the Celtics seasons, they just hinge on this formula. But, boy, they just did not adjust. I mean, the end of that thing, You're trailing by a point, not even a bucket, with 3:49 left, and you shoot 7 threes. You miss all of them. Adjust.
Joe Mazzulla's not capable of it.
I mean, those stats that he just rattled off are damning. They are damning.
So why? So when Steven says, "Well, I look at each individual," no. Look at your overall play style. Look at the overall play style of teams that play like that, and tell me what they've won. I think they've won dick.
Mike, they're brainwashed.
So
they are. I told you, it's cultish. You can't even have the conversation with Mazzulla.
Ryan Russillo postgame, give it to me.
It's just an annoying team. Yeah, the Celtics are just an annoying team. And I don't want to be more harsh than that about it. But I just can't believe how many times you can watch them and go, so you guys are just going to do this again, huh? And then it just doesn't seem like anybody's like pulling everyone aside and going, hey, we are about to f this up, guys.
Nope, but you can keep doing the same thing because the coach doesn't have the touch, doesn't have the ability to adjust or see what's going on or put a stop to it.
I mean, think of how little coaching there really is there. Just keep jacking the threes. That's the plan. Just keep jacking them.
Celtics average 46 three-pointers a game in their series. For example, Detroit averages 29 three-pointers in the playoffs.
It's almost double.
Cleveland, probably not going anywhere. They average 38. You're still averaging 8 more a game than the next highest team in the Eastern Conference. If that's how you play, you're going to lose. It's just those teams don't win. Sorry, they don't. But don't ask Joe about it. Don't ask Joe about it. So how come the local guys don't focus on it? Someone tried in the preseason, if you could, Kevin. Joe Mazzulla, this is in October. Someone dared ask him about the three. This is what happened.
Have taken a lot of threes because your personnel is allowed for it these past few years. You guys are employing a faster paced style this year. Is the process of getting to those changed at all because of the faster pace? Does it lend to it differently, or is it just the same process?
I've answered that question 100 times. Find the 2-on-1, make the right play versus the 2-on-1. That's that simple. Could be a 3, could be a layup. Find the 2-on-1. Do it. I've answered that for 2 years now. Find the 2-on-1. What does the 2-on-1 present? Are there 2 shooters on the 2-on-1? There's 2 shooters on the 2-on-1. You pass, you get an open shot. There's not 2 shooters on the 2-on-1. You cut. You create a 2-on-1 in a different way. I've answered that for 3 years. Why do we keep asking that?
Then
create 2-on-1s. Find a 2-on-1. Everybody should be able to answer that question verbatim based on my answers to that question for almost 3 years now. What's our offensive philosophy? Create 2-on-1s. What do you do when you create the 2-on-1? Read it. Find it. Last year, there was 2 38% three-point shooters in a 2-on-1 situation, so it was a pass shot. This year, there may not be a 38 to 40% three-point shooter on a 2-on-1 situation, so that 2-on-1 may be created off a cut, and then you can create a 2-on-1 in a different way. Then the cut allows us to get an offensive rebound. I don't understand. Why is it so hard? I said it for 3 years. I mean, you just keep ignoring what I said. Find the 2-on-1, make the right play versus a 2-on-1. For however long I'm here, that will be the offensive philosophy.
Sounds nuts.
I'm going to cheer when they fire this guy.
And the other thing is, that's not what he said for 3 years.
Because we have it. What he said in March of 2023 after his team blew a big lead and the opponent, the Brooklyn Nets, shot a lot of three-pointers. Here's what he said, Kevin.
And I know you guys all think it's funny, but the three-point attempt rate is the most important stat in the game of basketball because of the pace of play.
So he's on record as saying that the three-point attempt rate is the most important stat in basketball. His team plays that way. Then he's asked about it, and he pounds the table and sounds like a lunatic. So why do they discourage the local media from going there? Because that's the way he sounds. And so it's sort of been a non-topic. Like, you don't get it. The local guys brought it up this time, like you were compelled to. And Mazz went down there and helped. But for the most part, it hasn't really been discussed this year on a daily basis. And it's losing basketball. It's just, I just can't reiterate it enough. And it just blows me away that it was a big focus after the game and the 48 hours after the game. But I still think not enough people put an emphasis on it. It's a losing formula.
They don't want to change it. I don't think they want to change it. I don't know. Maybe they get a big man in here. They make a trade and they change it then. Maybe they feel like as long as they have 2 wings, but it would be nice. It would also be nice if they articulated that. Like, if they believe it, just own it.
Yeah, right. And it's a thing I have with the nerd community.
Look, we think this is the best way to win for our group, so that's what we're doing.
Own it. Absolutely. Own it. But they don't. They play to the style, but they're ashamed to even admit it. I find it happens a lot in baseball, too. They're ashamed to admit it. All right, there's a little reset on that topic. Back to your calls on Agenda Free Friday right after these words. I want to get to the gossip first.
Everything you said is right.
Felger and Mazz, the Sports Hub.
With that Vooch trade, one of the reasons why I was so bullish about Stevens' decision to trade Simons for him at the deadline was I was like, okay, you're getting a guy who's a good post player, 5 post-ups per game with the Chicago Bulls. Well, that dipped down to 1.7 post-ups per game under Joe Mazzulla. I think Stevens added a guy who would have added a new layer to their offense in the half court, much like we saw with Porzingis, with his ability to either space the floor or post up. Vooch is not as good as KP at his best, but he had those same ingredients. And Mazzulla, it just seemed like he didn't see it the same way. So I don't blame Brad at all there, whether it was a mistake or not. I think it was just kind of a misalignment in perhaps how to use the guy.
Well, after the Celtics Game 7 loss, Joe Mazzulla defended the C's reliance on the three-point shot, maybe even throwing some shade at Brad Stevens, who assembled the roster.
We're always going to play to the style of the strengths of the roster that we have and whatever that looks like. If we go out and get 5 big men that can post, we'll post it every single time. We go out and get, a bunch of guys that do whatever they do. We'll do whatever we got to do to win,
Kev, you were shaking your head the entire time he was talking, so you don't buy it.
I mean, the stat I just said, from 5 post-ups per game to 1.7 post-ups per game for Nikola Vucevic. Not a great post player. He's not a dominant post player, but a quality one. And Mazzulla just didn't put him in those situations at all. I mean, like, you have a team of shooters and high IQ players. Did you use them as screeners? Did you use movement off ball enough? Did you have any layers to your offense? No, I don't feel like they did as they blew a 3-1 lead to the Sixers.
Again, Mazzulla says, hey, give me players who can play inside. I'll use them. Well, they gave him one, and he didn't use them. Now, I got pushback on that from some green teamers. Say, well, when they had Porzingis, his post rate was actually pretty high. Porzingis's was. I mean, I'll take your word for it. Do we want to differentiate between the high post and the low post? I mean, it feels to me like Porzingis played on the free throw line.
He did, a lot. But you know what? With them,
but I'll
take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'll take it. With them, I'll take it. And honestly, he's better playing there, I think, at the high post instead of the low post, because it takes some of the physicality out, and he's a good passer. So if you can run it through him there, I'm okay with that. That's fine.
So, and it was also pointed out to me that Vucevic's he posted over 5 times, but he sucked in the post. His percentage or his efficiency or whatever stat was thrown at me was not that good at all. Kevin O'Connor said he was a decent post, not the best, but a decent post player. His numbers were not decent. So the argument back to me was that Mazzulla didn't put him in there because he sucks in there. To which I said, so you're saying if Mazzulla sees a player suck at something, he's going to steer away from that? Really? Which is why Derek White has sucked at shooting 3-pointers all year, and all he's done is shoot 3-pointers? So you're saying Joe is that keen, he can identify that and steer the team away from that? Then why is Derek White shooting 16 3-pointers in Game 7 when he hasn't shot it well practically all season?
Mike, they default to the 3 when there's any doubt.
Give me a break.
Like, this is the part they don't want to admit. And Derek White's a good example. Like, look, he had a bad shooting year, okay? Other years he's shot better than that. But Jordan Walsh, does Jordan, and I know what the numbers were when he shot during the regular season. They were surprisingly good. But does he look like a shooter to you?
No.
I mean, not even close. Not even close. So when they get a guy like that, and they say he can play defense, now we have to teach him to shoot threes. They don't say teach him to play offense. They say to shoot threes.
Let's go back to your phones. Thanks for hanging on. A lot of you have been waiting patiently. Jeff in Norwood, thanks again for hanging. What do you got, Jeff?
Hey, gentlemen. How are we doing? Not much of a basketball fan since the 80s with the Sixers and the Bird and Celtics and Johnson and all that stuff, but the NBA is a mess. And typically during scenarios where either leagues or businesses end up in precarious situations, change of leadership is necessary. I don't think Adam Silver is the guy to lead the NBA into the next generation. I think what's going on with teams playing to lose and the gambling controversies here, I think it's time for a leadership change.
Well, the tanking they're trying to address, we'll see about that. But play style and the thing that Murray was talking about last night, that I think others have brought this up. I think that truly is the biggest problem in the game.
It makes it unwatchable. In the tanking thing, look, I mean, if it works out for you, like it did for the Thunder, then congrats, you drafted correctly. But if you hate it, you could look at the Thunder as the 2 worst examples of why the NBA is tough for people to watch. They were built on tanking, and they are constantly foul baiting, and they get the calls. The foul baiting is what bothers me. Like that SGA stuff, it is just brutal.
Paul is in Fairhaven with the Bruins talk. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, thanks for the call. Hey, thanks for the call. Hey, with the Bruins, Harry Senior traded Barry Peterson for Cam Neely. He knew they had to get tougher. I would do the same thing with Pastrnak, and I would take all their picks and get Brady Tkachuk because he's that rare of a player. I would tune in all next year and watch every friggin' game. Thanks for the call.
Okay, Paul, thank you for running across the room. Man.
That's exactly what it sounded like.
Hold on. What I would do is... Neely traded Barry Peterson for Cam Neely. He could do the same thing now.
What also made it great is he sounded like a portly gentleman running across the room as well.
Wait.
So it doesn't have to be Brady Tkachuk for me, and you don't have to trade David Pastrnak. If David Pastrnak is your best player, you're effed. You're effed. You're not going to win with that guy. And not that he's not elite in certain things. Obviously, he's an elite goal scorer when he just decides to put his head down and fire the effing puck. Of course he is. But he doesn't play the right way. But again, I'll counter it. You can afford a guy or two who doesn't play the quote-unquote the right way if you've got a bunch of other guys who do, who are good. You can't just suck and play the right way. You know, Kastelik and those guys they're not good. They play the right way, but they're not good. So you have to find high-end players who play the right way, and that's got to be the leadership of your team. You don't have it. You don't have it by a long shot. And so you don't have to like Brady Tkachuk. It has to be somebody. Give me another guy. And I would do it. Now, you would trade Pastrnak and draft picks for Tkachuk? I think it might be the other way. I don't know. Tkachuk is younger. So who would have to give up something extra? I don't know. Or could you just get away with a one-for-one swap? I mean,
it's pretty close, I think. It's pretty close.
In terms of
1-to-1.
Age or ability or contract?
No, I think in terms of, even swap, it's close. Now look, he's what? He's a 3-time All-Star, and I'm picking that just as his point total's a lot lower than
exactly. That's what I'm saying. I wonder if you get extra.
Yeah,
because
probably
because you're giving up a 60-goal guy.
Yeah, you'd probably have to get a little bit more in that deal.
Which fine, give me more. How about Jason in Worcester on the South? Go ahead, Jason.
Hey, good afternoon, guys, and thanks for taking my call. As always, just great analysis from all three of you. Murray, we know the NBA has an issue with the officiating. That is absolutely clear. The foul baiting is a big problem. Mazz, great job with the Brad Stevens question and the press conference.
Seriously.
And Mike, great job with just reminding us of what the two leaders on this team do well in Brown and Tatum. I just wanted to give you guys a point to ponder, and I don't think it's been talked about enough. We've been talking about the three-point issue and how much of a problem it is. Brad talked in his press conference about how problematic it's been for them to generate quality first shots and how much work they have to put into just generating a good quality look for their first shot. The issue is that they're letting their wings run the offense. When we have Derek White and Peyton Pritchard, let the offense run through those two guys and put Brown and Tatum off the ball. And I think we would see a lot of our problems be solved.
Maybe. Have a true point guard play like a true point guard.
I mean, it's an idea, yes. Look, because again, I've told you, I like Tatum better off the ball. I think it's easier to run the offense if you're getting the ball on the wing or while you're in motion than it is to dribble it up.
I also, do they have an offense?
Not really.
Do they really? You watch Indiana, they clearly have an offense. You watch OKC, they clearly have an offense.
2-on-1s, Mike.
I don't even see that. I see 5 guys standing around the line, and when they're going well, they swing it for the open 3. Like, that's kind of their offense. They'll run some high pick and roll like everybody does, but other than that, is there cutting, moving without the ball? As Kevin O'Connor said, they're in that cut. Like, what do they do other than fan out around the 3-point line?
So when Tatum's on the floor, not much. Without Tatum this year, I thought we saw more cutting. And, Tatum would, or rather Brown would take the ball into the paint. Someone would cut. He would dish. He'd find a cutter. Like, there was more of that, which is part of the reason why the 3-point numbers went down. I thought we saw more of that when it ran through Brown. But I like the caller's idea. Even if it goes through Brown, get one of them moving. Get one of them moving. It just creates, it forces the defense to make decisions.
More of your calls right after the update.
Now, More of Felger and Mazz now on the Sports Hub. The Lightning Round, brought to you by Blue Sky Restoration Contractors.
Indeed, the Lightning Round is brought to you by Blue Sky Restoration Contractors. There's no E. It's BLUSKY. Thanks to everyone who stopped by at the Blue Sky booth at the MAA Expo yesterday. And happy Mother's Day to all the moms this weekend from our friends at Blue Sky Restoration. Visit Go Blue Sky, BLUSKY. Again, gobluesky.com is the website. To your phones, Jake in Boston. Go ahead, Jake. What do you got?
What's up? Shout out to the Liverpool fans who, unlike the Red Sox fanboys, actually make John Henry and FSG squirm. So Liverpool backed off of a ticket price increase after mass protest by their fan base, which embarrassed ownership, and they'll spend again. Their most expensive ticket price is less than $100. They also won a league title 2 years ago and played for a European title 4 years ago, both more recently than the Red Sox. Here's the difference. John Henry's actually scared of their fans, and with good reason.
Stop. Okay, lightning round.
You saw this story?
No, but he makes a good point. Are Red Sox fans too compliant? Or is there another thing that happens in European soccer in England where their building isn't flooded with fans from Man U or Man City or Chelsea, and they in England you can't afford to alienate your fan base because the other ones aren't taking over the building and filling your pockets.
Their pitch isn't part of the problem, whereas the park here is part of the problem. It's always going to be full. It's a tourist trap.
True. That part is definitely, I mean, I don't know enough about the Liverpool team to say that, but I don't think there are people flying in from Paris to go to their games.
Okay, but so I don't know how well like the English soccer fans travel. They probably travel very well, but there's probably no seats for them. It's just a different dynamic. Okay, so it's not just that. They're also more passionate than domestic baseball fans.
Definitely, by a lot.
They're vicious.
Yes, absolutely. And I need to understand, too, what the process is over there, because there is some sort of board that Henry needs approval from to raise ticket prices. And I think the board put pressure on him because the fans were pissed based on the story I was reading today. So, but yeah, they were. He's afraid of them. He's afraid of them. That's true.
Joe in the truck on the lightning round. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey guys, I want to defend Jaylen Brown a little bit. You're all saying that you agreed to play style when Tatum was out, and then when Tatum comes in, play style changes, and he's enjoying the season without him out. It's just you're speaking in contradictions. I mean, he has a point. Play style changes without Tatum in, and then once he's in, I mean, I personally would have had the ball go through the point guard, Pritchard, have Tatum come off the bench, slowly into playoffs, and just see what the regular season.
So, Joe.
Yes.
I do think he has a point. And I know where he's coming from. And I see where he's coming from. And I kind of agree with him. To do it when you just got bounced, losing a series 3-1, and you were the guy on the floor in Game 7 that it all went through, and you weren't good enough, I just don't know if that's the time to be doing that.
How much have we ripped Brown for saying that the play style was wrong?
So I haven't really.
Me neither.
I think he's right about that.
Yeah, the part that we're talking about is him saying this was his favorite year.
But I don't even necessarily blame him. He's just speaking the truth, which is he liked it the way it was. I just think it's telling. I think he's telling you something. But I'm not necessarily ripping him for that at all. I mean, I guess I'm ripping him if he wants it to stay together. If he wants to be here and he wants to play with Tatum and he wants it to be as good as they can be, I don't know if that's the best way to go about it. It sounds selfish. It sounds like he's not putting enough emphasis in the loss. But I don't think he's wrong about the play style at all. I do think he's full of crap when he says it was fun for him because of how Hugo and Baylor Shireman came on. I mean, it was just nonsense. He just went prattling on about, I'm sorry, I think he's full of crap when he says, we didn't win a championship, but the amount of growth, the expectations that these same people have for us is why this was my favorite year. I got to see the rookie, Hugo Gonzalez, just come in, add value, and play with fire. I got to see the young kid from Spain just turn into a monster. I got to see Jordan Walsh, who was kind of trying to find his footing and trying to find playing time and trying to get secure in himself. I watched him in practice and grow every day and grow to where he is now. So he's saying this is the most fun he's ever had as an NBA player because Jordan Walsh grew as a young player in practice?
Such a crock. Come on.
That's effing stupid. If you want me to believe that, that's ridiculous. Versus the fact that for the first time in his career, he got MVP consideration and put up career numbers. What do you think was more? Use your head, Celtics fans. What do you think was more fun for him? That Jordan Walsh practiced well, or that he's getting MVP votes?
Yeah, Hugo's a boss.
Stop it. So, just keep it real. I would say that to Jalen. I'm not buying that crap. He also said, I got to see Peyton Pritchard, who already was a killer, but take on more responsibility, be more of a go-to guy.
I don't want the offense running through Pritchard. One more person says that, I'm going to hang up on him.
He says, I got to see Jason Tatum come back from an injury, mentally overcome what that takes. And this is part of the reason why this was my favorite year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Jaylen Brown start saying this stuff in December? And didn't Jason Tatum come back in March, April, whenever it was? He was saying this was his favorite year well before Tatum came back. He was saying this was his favorite year well before Jordan Walsh and some of these guys really fully established themselves. So maybe I am getting on him for that. I mean, their play style blows, and it's better when he's on the floor. That I agree with him. But would you spare me this crap? Gray in South Carolina on the lightning round. Go ahead, Gray.
Hey, question from Mazz here. And let me preface this by saying that the Red Sox lineup is most likely going to suck either way, but I had been under the impression that the nerds were largely responsible for the lineup that's going out there each day, but since Cora got fired, they kind of got more of a traditional lineup with their, speed guy batting leadoff and their crappiest hitter batting ninth. And I was wondering, what's the dynamic there? And do you think, Cora was either trying to get himself fired with the lineup he was putting out there all year, or did he just kind of not know what he was doing? I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
It's a good question.
It is a good question. I think it felt like that way at the end, that he was trying to get fired. I will admit that. And when 7 guys who just got whacked get on a private plane together and they're all smiling, what does that tell you?
Well, but just
we're happy to get out of Dodge.
But just back to the lineup. I mean, towards the end there with Cora, they had Durbin in the 2-hole.
Yep.
Now he's batting 8th or 9th, right?
Yep.
I
think some of that started when Cora was here.
Was that the guy he was referring to? But there was a week there where they were batting Durbin second.
Correct. Yep, absolutely, yes. And if you were to ask me again, I think there was a point. I think Cora started out thinking, we'll see how the season goes. And then just go by his comments post-game. You can tell as soon as he said, the night that he said, that Friday night where they lost to Baltimore, and he said, look, these guys have to learn how to play. My job is to teach them the game. I heard that and went, uh-oh, all of a sudden we're not here to win? My job, I felt like that was a middle finger to management. I have to teach them the game. You guys think I'm an instructor? That's what I am. I'm an instructional coach. And look, they had already decided by that point, but right then and there, I said he doesn't want to be here anymore.
The Lightning Round is brought to you by Blue Sky Restoration Contractors. Visit gobluesky.com. How about Bobby and Waltham? Go ahead, Bobby.
Hey, guys. I'll be quick and short to the point. Major Celtics trade proposal. Celtics trade Jaylen Brown and Coach Joe Mazzulla to the Golden State Warriors for Steph Curry and Steve Kerr.
Okay. Stupid. Please, stop it. How about Dean and Shrewsbury on the Lightning Round? Go ahead, Dean.
The Celtics were actually very heavy high pick and roll. They led the league in screen assists this year, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that Kata doesn't shoot the threes. I think Kata, he was definitely top 10, but I think he was top 5 in screen assists a game. So it wasn't like this year they were all hanging out at the 3-point line. It was more 4 people were hanging out, 3 people were hanging out at the 3-point line, and they were doing a pick and roll for whoever was running the point.
Yeah, that makes sense. I said before, they run plenty of high screen and roll like everybody, but everyone else is just standing there.
Yeah.
Waiting to get a kick out.
Oh, no. Teams, remember the years where teams would just defend out on the arc?
Yeah.
And they'd let the Celtics come inside if they wanted, and they never did? Really stunning. I want to know where Dean gets all his info.
He must have some serious database that he taps into.
I mean, he's big time dork.
And we say that with all the love and respect in our heart, dude.
I mean, analytics dork.
Visit gobluesky.com for Blue Sky Restoration Contractors. John in the car. Go ahead, John.
I don't know what I hate worse, Mike, the Celtics drama or Fenway Park, the tourist trap, but it's probably the Celtics. But, Mike, to me, instead of getting rid of Pasternak, why don't they add to Pasternak? And if I'm going to do that, I'm trading the NHL Vezina Finals goaltender, and I'm going right up to Edmonton to find their best playmaker, and I'm going to try a good old-fashioned Harry Sinden swap. And if it don't work with them, I'm going to find somebody who needs a goaltender, and I'm going for an assist man because I am sick of David Pastrnak playing with Elias Lindholm or Marat Hustadinov or whoever the hell comes up from Providence, and he's not that guy, and they're making him something he isn't. He is somebody who puts his head down and he stands in Ovechkin's office and he fires it past the goalie, and you're asking for something that he doesn't do.
I'm all for it. I'll add to Pastrnak. That's fine. Just so Pastrak's not my best player, or Pastrak's not not the leader of the group, or it's not about him, that he's a sidecar to a guy that gets it and may not be as good, but a sidecar to a guy that gets it. So that's what I would say. And I would trade, as you know this by now, I would trade Jeremy Swayman in a heartbeat. I believe, I'm just looking it up, his no movement clause begins in 26-27. So does that mean starting with the league year?
Probably, yeah.
He has the no movement. You could trade him before the league year starts?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do it.
I would imagine, yeah.
Try and find some dumb team out there who thinks it's all about goaltending and peddle that contract and get something for him. Do it 100%. Absolutely. I would do it. It's like the first thing I would do.
I mean, now would be the time to do it. He's coming off a good year where he's a finalist for the Vezina, like all that.
I mean, and look, just to follow up on this, I got a great, I just think the goaltending is so overrated. And the high-priced goalies, the high, marquee goalies just don't win at a high level like they used to. Someone sent me this, Neil in Maine. Here's the current AAV of the 8 remaining playoff goalies. We had this yesterday. I said to Kevin, I don't think there's a single franchise goalie left in the playoffs. We're only in the second round, by the way. Because I know all 3 Vezina finalists this year either didn't make the playoffs or were one and done. Same thing last year. The 3 Vezina finalists either missed the playoffs or were one and done. So a Vezina finalist hasn't made even the second round in 3 years. But here are the 8 guys who are left standing. Frederik Andersen makes $2.75 million a year. He's 36 years old, this freaking fossil.
Guy's ancient.
Dan Vladar, is that anyone's idea of a franchise goalie?
No.
Makes 3.3. Thank you. Alex Lyon with the Sabres, 1.5 platoon guy.
And that's spin the wheel of goalies there in Buffalo.
Seriously,
he could be out of that series.
It really is.
With one bad game.
Dobish in Montreal, who they hate, makes $965,000.
Cheap.
I think they rotated 3 guys up there this year. They don't have a goalie. Carter Hart in Vegas makes $2 million. Scott Wedgwood in Colorado. Did I say Colorado? Carter Hart in Vegas makes $2 million. Scott Wedgwood in Colorado makes $2.5 million. He's 33 years old and with his 5th team. This is hardly Martin Brodeur we're talking about out there, and that's the odds-on Stanley Cup favorite. Colorado's, I think, clearly the best team in the league, clearly the odds-on favorite to win it all. They don't really have a goalie. Lucas Dostal in Anaheim might be the closest thing to a franchise goalie. He makes $6.5 million a year. He started 55 games this year, which is a lot, although he started 55 games, although not well. He had a .310 goals against and an .888 save percentage.
Ooh, not good.
Smells. But he played a lot, and he makes decent money. That's about as close as you can get to a franchise goalie, unless you want to consider Philip Gustafsson, who makes 6.8 and does play a lot. He started 49 games this year, 58 last year, .903 save percentage, .269 goals against. That feels like a franchise guy. They're about to get swept by Colorado.
He's with Minnesota, right?
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Of the top 12 highest paid goalies by AAV, of the top 12, all are either out of the playoffs or one and done. The top 12 highest paid goalies in the league, let me repeat, by AAV, are either out of the playoffs or didn't make it. One and done or weren't even done. The goaltending does not translate like it used to. So if you can get a team to somehow buy that Jeremy Swayman is going to make the difference, then you take it and run. Because after this year, or this league year, you're not going to be able to do it again because the no movement clicks in.
Should trade him to Edmonton.
Yeah, and so look, for a team that's really good, that sucks in that, maybe there's a path there. Like you maybe that would make sense. So do it. Find that team. Long commercial-free segment is next. Go back to the phones for the 5 o'clock hour, Mazz, unless you have a fresh thought for us.
God, no.
Felger and Mazz, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
So 12 is the one that's indicated as the one that Toronto If they get 12, it's not.
Oh, my God.
The Porking live on 98.5 The Sports Hub, and the Toronto Maple Leaf GM is happy and smiling, and the Porking live right here. Can you believe that?
That is a sham. Rigged. Sniff, Joe. Give us the sniffer. That is awful. That is such a. I'm out. That's such a rigging. I can't. That's a sham. That's a absolute sham.
So Toronto will
get the first overall
number one pick.
Yep. They make a terrible GM hiring along with this idiot, and then their star player today says, "Oh, I kind of want to leave," and now they get the first overall pick. You cannot convince me that draft lotteries are not rigged. How do we know that's live? Explain to me how that's live. How does anybody in this room right now know that going on right now is live like they claim it is? It's not live. It was recorded earlier. This is a sham. The NHL draft lottery has always been rigged. Don't let anybody tell you it's not rigged. Rigged. We need to protect the Maple Leafs. We need to get them back up and running. The Bruins were once again porked with a capital P.
You're so mad you've lost your hat.
Yeah. I don't care that people can see me balding.
Obviously, the Supercut of the week. Brought to you by Supercuts, the sponsor of the simulcast here on Felger and Mazz. When you're thinking about your next haircut, use your head. Head to any of the 120 Boston and Providence Supercut salons. Supercuts Real Smart Hair. You know, I'm not giving up hope that they still won't get a high draft pick, because now they will get, I guess, the Leafs 2028 first-round pick unprotected. Maybe 27. Have they figured that out, Kevin? Have they?
No, they haven't figured it out.
Okay, so NHL. That they don't even know.
That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable.
It's so them how not dialed in the NHL still is. So, but either in 2027 or 28, they're going to get the Leafs unprotected first-round pick. I still think there's a chance the Leafs can epically blow because they're the Leafs. And it's a bad organization. They just hired 2 inexperienced bozos to run the thing. And I don't know if Kevin McKenna can play. And even if he can play, it's going to take him years to figure out how to win. Young guys don't win in that league, as we've gone over many times. So they could still suck, as far as I know. So, I still am not, but they could have really used that pick this year.
Definitely.
Apparently, there's a good group of, legit franchise caliber defensemen, if not exactly, I'm not talking about Ray Bork here, but like legit, sturdy, good defensemen in the top 10. You have no high-end prospects on defense. You desperately need it. It would have fit perfectly. 1 year you draft your center of the future. The next year you draft a defenseman of the future. And so that, make no mistake, that was a porking. Did you have something, Kevin? No? So that happened this week. But enough of me. It's Gasper time.
All right, yeah.
We'll talk to Christopher right after Murray gets you updated. 90 seconds, no commercials here, so don't go anywhere.